All right. So during today's webinar, we're going to focus on getting familiar with NHA's platform and website as a new administrative user. Here at NHA, we are fully invested in the success of you and your candidates. We take pride in doing what is right, and we're not afraid to use our voice if it moves the industry forward. We are here to help ensure that all of your learners, no matter their background or their needs, feels confident and empowered to complete their required learning and earn their accredited certification. Alrighty, so we're going to do a brief introduction to NHA, but before we talk about us, I wanted to hear a little bit from you. I've got a few polls that I'm going to be bringing onto the screen. One moment while I get that first one launched. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So there should be a poll pop up on your screen. We just want to know a little bit about who we're talking with today. If you can see that and read through those, we would love to know what your role at your institution is. All right. I'll give it a few more seconds here. We don't have too many of you that's responded, but we would love to know. All righty. I'll go ahead and close that poll down. Thanks to those of you who responded. And if it's other, post it in the chat what your role is. We would love to know that as well. Alrighty. So the other thing I want to know is which profession or professions is your institution training towards? So there's going to be another poll pop up to the screen. Here we go. And you might have to scroll down because there are 8 of and if it's more than one, I think you can select more than one. Our content today isn't going to be program specific, but we still want to know where we're at here. I'll give it a few more seconds. Looks like we have folks on for all of the certifications except for patient care technician, which is interesting. Alrighty, I'm going to go ahead and end that. I'll share those results just so everyone can see them. Yeah, still none from patient care tech. Alrighty, thank you for your engagement on that. During today's session, we're going to review NHA and the resources we provide. We'll talk through your access to the NHA website and how you can be fully enabled to run your program right from there. And then we'll even do a live walkthrough before getting to Q&A. So please remember to stick around with us through the end so you can be entered into that raffle. Okay, so you should know that NHA is the largest frontline healthcare worker certification organization in the industry. We've got over 1 million certified candidates, and we're leading the industry. And we use the resources and information from our experiences and our learning partners to create learning materials that widen their skills and abilities within the health field. And I've shown to help candidates have a higher potential to earn their nationally accredited certification as well. Those resources come in many formats, starting with our nationally accredited certifications in 2 sections. So 5 of the 8 certifications fall within the practitioner side of frontline healthcare, including medical assistant, phlebotomist, pharmacy technician, EKG, and patient care technician. Then there are also 3 certifications in an administrative capacity that include billing and coding, medical administrative assistant, and e-health records. Then additionally, NHA also develops comprehensive learning tools around key learning objectives for the healthcare professions that we serve. Those resources range from didactic learning in medical terminology or anatomy and physiology to the development of essential soft skills, as well as clinical skills for medical assistants, administrative assistants, and pharmacy technicians. So these can be used across the entire learner's journey and can be packaged together to provide a comprehensive experience from start to finish. So, that's just a little bit about NHA. We can go deeper, or we will go deeper, but I want to pause again for another poll. I want to know what you're most hoping to take away from today. Your feedback here helps us to curate content for future webinars. Um, and we're going to revisit this question at the end. So would really appreciate your feedback here. Thanks to those of you who have weighed in so far. We'll give it a few more seconds here. And most of you are saying that you're kind of just brand new and need to know all the things. So you've come to the right place. I'm going to go ahead and end that. Actually, all of those things are things that we're going to talk about during our time together now. But yeah, thanks to those of you who weighed in for that. All righty, let's keep going here. So you should have already received a confirmation email from nhanow.com with a prompt to set up your administrative login. If you haven't seen this, make sure you check your spam box or your junk mail. This email walks you through the first steps to set up your administrative login that you can access at nhanow.com. Okay. Once logged in, this is what it looks like. You really have access to almost everything you could need to manage your learners and your account just from this home screen. So this is your dashboard, and it's broken into two main categories. The center of the screen will provide you quick access to NHA's supplemental resources. Like here, this first link under the Get Started area will take you to test plans for all of NHA's 8 nationally accredited exams, and they're all available to download right from there. This is an important area for you to know what NHA's exams will cover, but also important to provide this information to your candidates or your learners. We know it's important for you both. Alrighty, so I'm going to do another quick poll, keeping you engaged. All right, so we did a recent survey of over 6,000 exam candidates from across the country to try to uncover what the common themes were or the biggest hurdles for them to actually sit for their NHA exam. So, out of the options listed there in that poll, which do you think was the most common issue reported? These were all issues that were reported, but which do you think was the most common? Alrighty, again, I'll give a few more seconds here. Okay. Thanks to those of you who have weighed in. I'm going to go ahead and end that. I'll go ahead and share the results. But yeah, the most common was test anxiety or low confidence to pass. So good job to those of you that answered that. Again, they were all things that were listed as reasons for not sitting for the exam, but that was the most common. So we know that that can be addressed through preparation. So this is one of the many reasons why it is a best practice to get your candidates into their NHA accounts as soon as possible. We send them welcome emails and information on preparing for their exams. So getting them prepared in that way is really the first step that you can have them take. So here, popping onto the screen, are just some of the hundreds of comments from that survey that focused on uncertainty, not just around general anxiety, but not knowing if they're prepared. Have they learned all the things they need and worry about making it through the timed exam? Providing the exam test plans and NHA's resources or learning tools really have shown to make a positive impact on this. Okay, so going back to the other resources to help with all of this in the Get Started area, these may rotate resources throughout the calendar year just to provide you access. They're just meant to provide you access to quick links around first steps and frequently asked questions, as well as resources on testing and implementing NHA's materials. So scrolling down, will show you some of the most used how-to resources that will walk you through the administrative steps that you would need to manage your NHA account. And then right from this list, you'll see the recently upgraded Knowledge Center or Help Center. This is where you can do an open search for any resource you may need or look through the categories below. Um, these include exam day troubleshooting, supplemental guides, how to resources, video walkthroughs, things like that. So here, follow this option for exam guides and resources to be able to access any forms or for technical requirements. And then, like I mentioned, you can also just search at the top. So, like NHA's Exam Ready Checklist, which is a resource for administrators walking through, the month or so before an exam occurs, that can also be found there. Okay. The Library of Resources has additional tools for you as well. So searching through this page will take you to, as I mentioned, video guides and PDFs to help you, and including setting up the learning content, providing access to candidates, opening exam dates, viewing reporting, and monitoring exam applications and results. It's a lot. There's even tools to share with your learners to help them through their process. Lots of good stuff here. Okay, so the NHA exam online study materials are based off of the test plan for that certification. They include an interactive study guide as well as a series of practice tests that are designed to look and feel just like the exam. This package also provides the NHA Focused Review, which is a personalized study feature to help candidates as they navigate through their practice tests. These should be assigned digitally to each candidate so that they can move through the materials on their own, as well as provide adequate reporting for both group and individual learner growth. The focused review, it's a secondary tool, if you will, and it's separate from the study guide, and it's specific to each practice test attempt to help candidates focus further on those areas that they may still be struggling in. Okay, it's a very helpful tool. Okay, so those study packages are available for preparing for any of the NHA exams, but I want to take a moment to review the other learning materials available from NHA, as you see on the bottom of your screen. So, starting with core learning, NHA has learning content focused either on anatomy and physiology or medical terminology. These address just the right amount of content for learners in an entry level role through interactive and engaging online materials. NHA has a full pharmacy technician suite of materials that start with inherent learning on becoming a pharmacy technician through Pharmaceer. Though Pharmaceer is mapped to NHA's exam, it's really designed to meet the ASHP didactic standards for learning in this critical and very important role. Okay, we also have primary learning on learning tools on medical math, dosage and calculations in the Pharmaceer Math training program. There are skills developers for your medical assistants as well, which include the MA Skills Builder Clinical and Clinical Plus. These provide an interactive learning experience to help develop and execute the top 39 clinical competencies or skills that employers are needing in that entry level clinical medical assistant. And then in the Clinical Plus, we also address those core foundational knowledge, like the core foundational knowledge necessary behind those skills. In NHA's medical administrative assistant skills developers, the MA Administrative and Administrative Plus focus on, again, the technical and job ready knowledge to handle front and back office administrative responsibilities in skills development and core knowledge, like I just mentioned. So we do know that those clinical skills are essential, but administrative duties are a large part of the MA's role. So these tools are also applicable for your office administration as administrative staff as well. Okay, we also have additional skills developers or career laddering options that include providing upskilling in professionalism, starting with personability. This is available in both the clinic or the pharmacy setting, and it uses online simulations and role play to develop abilities in teamwork and emotional intelligence, also communication. You could ladder further by leveraging principles of health coaching, which is another immersive learning tool with realistic scenarios to continue the learning in communication, but also population health management and motivational interviewing. If you are in a patient centered care environment, any member of the care team could deepen their understanding of what it means to work in this quality versus quantity environment by using the assessment based certificate program called team based care. Another resource that you can also obtain from your NHA representative are NHA's implementation guides. So these guides are available to you, and they'll outline the content, implementation suggestions, and even the average time it should take for a candidate to navigate through any and all of NHA's study materials. So you can see here on the screen just a snapshot across 4 of our 8 prep packages. You can see that the time it can take an average person to work through just the study guide portion can range widely. So these guides are available for all of NHA's learning resources as well. It helps to have that kind of timing breakdown, I think. Okay, so specifically for all of NHA's core learning resources and for some of our exam materials, we also provide implementation toolkits that can include downloadable and editable PowerPoint presentations that are aligned to the core learning. There are optional lesson plans outlining the core content and suggestions for implementation. There are optional additional testing banks and, again, resources to implement, additional activities to help kind of scrub and polish the learning. There are walkthrough videos that are unique to that product content. And then also there's mapping resources to accreditations, textbooks, and of course, test plans. So in fact, we have these mapping resources for your exam preparation materials as well. You could have your NHA representative send this to you, but these are called alignment guides. And these guides are unique to each certification type, and they include an outline of the full test plan, identifying how many scored questions there will be on the certification exam from each of the different content domains. This will also map out kind of, where in the NHA study guide that content is covered. And if there are any additional resources within that learning content to help with the process, and that could include, videos and games. This really is a wonderful tool to use to help align your students' learning as well as review your program content just to ensure that there aren't any large gaps in the learning materials. And then these alignment guides have an open couple columns at the end as well, so that if you wanted to, you could plug in where in your book, in your week, or in your program you're covering that core content. Alrighty, so NHA also has full program maps that you could use to implement any or all of these products and help with the learner journey kind of from start to finish. So on the screen here is just one example from our medical assistant pathway. We have many different versions. And so if you would like to know more about these, just reach out to your NHA representative. And if you don't know who that is, feel free to post it in the chat or the Q&A, and my team who's helping me will get that info for you. Okay, so let's just take a quick moment and see if there have been any major questions. I don't think I saw anything come in the Q&A, but my team who's on with me, has there been anything?
There has not been anything in the chat bar.
Perfect. And I didn't see anything come in through the Q&A either. So we'll continue on. Don't be shy though. Any question, post it. We want to help you. Okay, so I know that that was kind of a lot that we just covered. The survey link that you'll get at the end of today's session, um, on that, be sure to note if you'd like anyone to follow up with you directly on any of the resources that we're reviewing today. Your NHA contact would be able to follow up with you and help you out. Okay, so now that we've seen, your resources, let's talk about your access to the website and then even get into a live demonstration. Okay, so we reviewed the resource part of the dashboard, but the other portion of the NHA website is on the left-hand side in your navigation bar. This is where you can find your administrative shortcuts from viewing your inventory and creating your courses to pulling reports for your program and for your study materials. You can monitor candidate exam applications and results. You can, depending on your role, you can add or remove additional administrative users, and you can even view your exam calendar, create test dates, and proctor the exam all from here. In fact, right from here is where you can get your learners started with creating their personal logins, like I spoke about earlier. Um, One thing to note, if your institution is using NHA's LMS integration, you would just want to follow the normal steps for learner access from and through your LMS. But for everyone else, if that doesn't apply to you, you can invite your candidates to set up their logins well before providing any learning resources through the account invitation feature right here that you see on your screen. So this is going to help ensure that all is ready to go when it's time to start their studying and there's no confusion. So as I mentioned earlier, it really is a best practice to get your learners set up as early as possible with their NHA accounts. We really have seen that statistically, those who do are more likely to take their certification exam as well as earn their certification. So, all right, well let's get into a live walkthrough here of the website. One moment while I get that brought on the screen. All righty. So, I've just logged into my presentation account, but your administrative home pages after you log in will look very similar, just like this. The first thing I want to highlight here is this help center or the knowledge center that I mentioned earlier. Here it is. Again, you can type in the search bar what you're looking for or navigate through these categories. This would be everything that you might need to know. This would be everything your students or learners might need to know. This is where everyone can access a password reset link, as well as other forms around exam accommodations and exam day issues and things like that. So that's the Help Center or the Knowledge Center. I'm going to focus on some of these tabs here. The first I want to highlight is in the prep materials section, and it's the inventory tab. So depending on how your institution is set up for billing, you will likely be able to come here to check your prep material inventory. This is live, there's no lag time. I mostly just like to show this to encourage you to uh, check here before you place a future order to make sure you're using everything you have. Okay, that brings us to the courses tab. So I mentioned this briefly earlier, but the courses page here, this is where the prep materials live, if you will. And essentially, a course has to be created that students or learners then enroll in order to access their study materials. Um, it is a best practice recommendation to have a new or a different course for each new or different cohort of learners. But you just come to the courses tab. Pretty easy first step. You click the new course button and you fill in the information. You're always going to start by titling the course. Something to know with that is you can title a course anything you want. You just can't ever reuse the same course title. So just recommend, a course title that's specific to that cohort of learners, or maybe something with a timestamp. Start and end date are not required. That feature mostly just serves as a visual organizational aid. Then you add the course materials, and to add something to the course, it's just this included in course, switch that to yes. Once you've got the proper materials, you'll scroll all the way to the bottom and click create course. Once your course is created, I'll walk you through next how to get your learners enrolled in the course. So to do that, you click the roster button for the appropriate course, click this invite candidates button, enter their email addresses, and NHA will send them an email letting them know they were invited to join a course with a link to click. And when they click the link, it will first prompt them to create their NHA account if they haven't done so already, and then it will give them access to the study materials. Down the road, then, if your students or if your learners are testing on site with you, um, the first step that needs taken when you know when a future exam date will be is to add that exam date to the system. So to add a future exam date, it's this tab here, schedule exam. And again, fill in the information. It starts by asking for the maximum number of people that can sit for this exam. So basically, whatever number you put here, the system won't let more than that number apply for this exam date. Um, Obviously requires the exam date. It also requires this application deadline date, which it's just that. It's when you want them to apply for the exam by, and it has to be at least 8 days prior to the exam date. So just a general best practice recommendation there is to add future exam dates as soon as you know about them, and then shoot to have learners apply for their exam no later than 2 weeks before the exam date. That kind of gives everybody a little wiggle room. You can see a list of upcoming exams in the Upcoming Exams tab. You can see them 30, 60, or 90 days out. And from here, you'll get a kind of higher level set of information around, how many people have applied for that exam date, what the exam type is. But if you want to dig a little deeper, it's this tab, View Exam Applications. This is where you can track and monitor who has applied for what exam. You'll see here there's a box for third party applicants and first party. Um, so if you're testing pharmacy technician, or if your candidates are required to, sit for the exam through a third party as opposed to on site with a proctor that you provide, you can still see here who has applied for the exam and when it is. So you can still monitor them right from here. Same with first party. So as they apply, their names will appear here. After the exam is over, you can see their exam results through the View Exam Results tab. A passing score on all of NHA's exams is 390 points out of a possible 500 points. If they don't pass on their first try, they can take it again. They just have to wait 30 days between attempts, and they do have to pay for it again. If they don't pass on that second try, they can take it a third time, again, waiting 30 days between attempts and paying for it again. But if they don't pass after that third try, they do have to wait a full year before each additional attempt. So I think I'm going to leave it at that for the live demo. We can always revisit at the end if there's questions, but those are the most common functions that an administrative user needs to know or does. So let's continue here. One of the biggest items that we haven't covered today is on reporting resources. We hold additional webinars and some that just focus on that. So that's not what we're talking about today. For now, I want you to know that the moment a learner accesses any of their study materials, we begin to pull data and load reports. Um, these I'll just briefly touch on it. So these reports do include filterable tools, downloadable PDFs, and really deep analytics to provide you clarity in your learner's process. It's called the Learning Insight Center. That's our reporting program. It has reports that highlight, among other things, progress through the modules, performance in assessments, and time spent in study. So again, today's webinar isn't about that content specifically. We do hold others, so please keep an eye out because those reporting webinars are really great and very detailed. Okay, so as a reminder, NHA does want you to be able to address your questions when they happen. We've already reviewed the how-tos and the knowledge or the help center, but please know that these self-guided resources are your first line of defense for both you and your students on what to do and really the mechanics of how our resources and our website work. There's really tons of great stuff in there to use throughout your program as well. So please check that out. If the answer you need isn't found there, then please use our client care team. They are the live chat and the help center phone line, and they're available extended hours, but not 24 hours. So this means that you and your students or your learners don't have to wait until your NHA contact is free to answer any questions that are urgent. So please don't hesitate to use this. They're a really incredible group of people and they're very helpful. In addition to all of that, you have your NHA account representative. If you don't know who your personal contact is, like I said before, please be sure to either post that in the chat or include an inquiry on that survey that we'll post soon. These account representatives are here to help with all other tools and resources and to ensure that you have everything you need to be successful and empower your learners to earn their certifications. If you or your institution, your team, would like any additional training, either as a group or individually, your account manager, your client executive can connect you with my team, which is the client experience team. We are the trainers. So don't hesitate to ask for that because we are here to help as well. Okay, so I'm going to launch one more poll. I want to revisit what we posted earlier about what that initial ask of the items that you were hoping to learn today. So please select as many of the items that you now feel more confident in navigating for yourself. Would love to hear from you. All right, I'm about to close that out. Thanks for those of you who did respond there. Oh, still coming in. Cool. The majority of you, I'm going to go ahead and end it, but thank you. The majority of you said that you are comfortable. And that's exactly what you needed. So we're happy to hear that. And again, that information helps us generate content for future or adjust our webinar decks. So thanks. Okay, so before we do get to Q&A, I did want to reiterate that this was recording. Anyone who registered for this session will receive the recording. And if we can't or haven't addressed your question in the Q&A by the end of today, we will be capturing all of those questions and we'll work hard to get in touch with you directly for additional assistance. Also, wanted to take a moment to make sure that you all know how thankful we are for you. I want to personally thank you for all that I know that you're doing and for being here with me today. I appreciate your time. You do work incredibly hard, and not to mention everything that's going on right now. So, from all of us, thank you. All right, well, let's pause here. I can open the chat and Q&A, but to my team that's on the line with me, have there been anything that we should address
Hi,
as
Hannah.
yeah,
This is
Mary?
Mary. We had one from a proctor,
Oh,
and they just wanted to verify that they don't see all of the options that
yeah,
instructors and directors see.
yeah,
So if you're
yeah,
a proctor out there, just know that the tabs that are given to you on your dashboard are what you need to get your job done.
yep, yep. Thank you, Mary. Yeah, and I'm sure you answered that directly, but I appreciate you calling that out. Um,
And other than that, we have no other questions. Hannah, good job.
all right, thorough. But again, as I'll quit the recording here in a moment, and if you still have any lingering questions or any clarifications that you'd like answered, don't hesitate to post it there. We'll stick around for a few minutes. So thank you again for being here with us and for all that you do. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording, and you can feel free to pop off.